everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome to another process video. I'm just showing you all the little bits and pieces that I have pulled together to use for this layout, and the majority of it I don't use, so I won't spend my time going through and telling you about all the stuff, except for that I'm using some paper from this Lucky Charm collection from Dear Lizzie. So I'm actually just cut the branding strip off that one piece, and that's a beautiful ombre pink piece, and I'm actually using this piece that already had the stripes in it, so I'm not wanting to reinvent the wheel, and I love all of these stripes, so all I'm doing is cutting the stripes, and I'm wanting to add those to the page with a little bit of dimension. So I'm actually going to stick these strips overlapping each other, and I'm going to use the scissors to distress the edges and to give it a little bit more texture. So instead of just using the flat piece, I actually want it to have a little bit of movement in the page and rough them all up a little bit. So that's why I'm using this one piece. So instead of having to cut a little piece off every different sheet of paper, I'm actually being able to use lots of colours, but using one sheet of paper. And I actually made it too wide, and I'm going along trimming them all down, and they end up being about 8 inches long. So this is a challenge on the Victoria Marie Facebook page. If you haven't checked that out, you might want to go and check that out. And Victoria had done a layout with this similar design down the middle, and a few ladies have taken up the challenge to scrap lift that and to add their own little bit of a spin to it. So that's what this is all about. So at the moment I'm just working out where these little strips are going to be. So instead of individually sticking every single strip, I could just run the tape gun down the middle of the page and know that it's going to be fine. So there I am, I'm just distressing the edges with the scissors. So I have got a distressing tool somewhere, who knows where it is, but I had my scissors on hand and they do a perfect job. So just running, you can see there, I'm off camera a little bit, but just running the piece of paper along the open blade of the scissors, and it does cut chunks into it, but you know, that's the look I'm going for. And so, you know, you can rough them up and make them as scruffy as you want, or just do a little bit of a distress to them. So I don't let you watch me do the whole sticking of this, because that would be pretty boring. So it is going to jump ahead very soon, and you will see that I have finished doing the strips, and they go right up to the top. So there we go. So pretty much taking it to the top, adding the last little bits of layers, and it started to get a little bit dark here, so I've turned the light on, so it changed colour a little bit, but hopefully it's still okay. So adding the last little strips where there is quite a wide gap, or just where I think that I need to have another little bit of colour, or perhaps that the underneath was showing a little bit, so I'm just trying to cover that up a bit. So there I am, bending or sticking where needs be, and you know, folding up the pages a little bit more. It's a bit hard to see the dimension here on the video, but there is a lot of dimension on this layout. And there's the photo that I'm going to use. So this is a photo of my friend's little girl, and I looked after her and her little brother while Mum and Dad went and had some coffee together on Valentine's Day, and we were on the foreshore here in our town, and so we had a play in the play park, and they have a water play area as well with you know, what are they called, spouts and things that the water comes out of. So it's all free, and it's all just on the foreshore. So it was beautiful and sunny, and the kids were like well behaved, and we had an awesome time together. So that's what that photo is. So it's not my little girl, but it is a friend's little girl. So there I am. I have just cut down my paper a little bit so that I can mat it on that dark cardstock. There were a few darker pieces in that strip that I made, so I just wanted to mat it on some dark cardstock. But when I put the photo down, I didn't actually like the photo with the white border, so I cut the white border off and then I matted it with that dark paper. Then I didn't really like how dark it was, so I decided to mat it then with a little piece of paper that had the aqua and yellow in it. So that softened it all up a little bit, and that's where I just went and cut a tiny little bit off around the 4 sides, and I'm going to stick that on that background piece. But before I do that, I just want to get the scissors and scruff the edges up a little bit just to make that look all cohesive, and get lots of paper scraps, but that's okay. So there we go, nice little bit of a dark border now to the page. And what am I doing? Putting the doilies on. So I'm just having a look at the doilies, and I'm not quite sure where I want to add the doilies. And so at this point in time, I've just got the one up there at the right hand corner. I've tried to add that bit of a flourish, but I don't really like that. And I'm thinking I would like one of these large gold hearts, so I just cut that off for now. It's not stuck down, and I'm starting to go through some of these elements that I have pulled aside. So that is from Simple Stories, I think it is, and that's a part of their little Project Life pieces. And I'm just taking a few little elements from there. And there you go, you just saw me try to use that silver doily, and I gave myself a thumbs down, so I wasn't impressed with that, didn't particularly like it. And here I am just trying to work out where I'm going to put these doilies. So I toyed with putting them over to the side, which I quite liked, and in the end I just put one underneath at the top right and tuck one underneath at the bottom left. So continuing on with these little stickers from the sticker sheets, and cutting off that little bit. It was a little speech bubble, so I didn't need it a speech bubble, so I just cut the little extended bit so it just looks like a word. And now I'm just popping all the little things up on a little bit of dimensional tape. So I've just got these little pop dots that are really flat. So if you've ever seen the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, they're little shapes, they're quite flat. These ones are a very similar size, so they're only really cheap. I get them from Spotlight, and they work really well. So they don't take anything up too high, but they just give it a little bit of a dimension. So here I am, I'm adding this dreaded foam tape to this photo. It is so sticky, it's stuck to my fingers, it sticks everywhere. So once I've got the foam tape on, it is then a challenge to get the red backing off. I don't know if I got a dodgy batch, but I could never remove it off, so I have a struggle with that. And in the end I do win, I do get it off, but whilst I'm doing it, it's sticking to my fingers. It is like, there is no way that once this is stuck that it is moving. It is there for life. So better make sure that I've got it in exactly the right place, because yeah, like I said, it's not moving anywhere. So now I'm just committing to these little elements that I have around my page. Some of them I pull up and move and add some foam tape behind. They're looking a little bit flat, and so I've just got these words here from Heidi Swapp that I had cut apart to use on another layout. So just adding some words, so always and wonder is what I added there. So just patting them down, and this one was a bit tricky because the wonder, the D comes up higher, so it's sort of like it's sitting on my photo but bent over, but look, it will survive. Once it's in the plastic pocket, you won't even be able to tell. So just adding a couple of the elements there. The arrows, they were from the Heidi Swapp acetate pack, or whatever, acetate sticker pack, epoxy stickers, that's the word. and just pulling a couple of brads. So I had some October Afternoon Farm Girl brads in my stash that I wanted to use up. So brads are fun. They're a pain because you've got to poke through the page, but you know, they add a nice little bit of something different to a page when you're using lots of little flat elements and different kinds of stickers. They are a little bit of a fun element, and I love to overlap them on pages, so I like to put them somewhere where they're going to be touching something else, and you can make your own little cluster points. So here I am, I've got this little gold love heart, and I want to put that somewhere, and I put it there and then move it and decide to put it up the top, but then later on I move it back because it's left a little bit of a gap between the always and that little circle, so I do actually change it. So just putting another little brad in there, and what am I doing? Looking at this little arrow, so a couple of little arrows, it gets moved around the page quite a bit, so not quite sure where I'm going to put it, so it gets moved around to the left hand side of the page, and then it gets put back down just in front of that wonder. So sometimes, you know, I like to put things down, and after it's been there for a while I decide I don't particularly like it, and then just decide to move it. So here I am, I've got these little stickers. I've had this sticker sheet from Papercraft for like 10 years or so, and I decided that I am going to use these today. So I found them in my stash, and that was a cute one because it said hanging out, and so that was a bit of a play on the picture because she's hanging off the climbing frame in the photo. So, and then the other little word, very sweet, and over the other side I'm putting down wonderful and incredible. So there were lots of boy element stickers on there that I will use when I do her brother's layout, and so it was nice to have those. I love these little word stickers, and they are a really fun element to add to a page. And I've just pulled that sticker off that I had laying flat. I love being a girl, and I've popped it up on some dimensionals and just add that in that little gap. So I've just brought that cluster up a little bit so that wasn't just hanging out on its own. And then I do move that again. There you go. Now that's its final resting place. And then I grab that little circle element. There you go. And pop that there. And that's pretty much it. So I think I'm just looking for my black ink at the moment. So it's hiding under all my rubbish because I still haven't cleaned out my desk. You can see it piling everywhere. And I put my black ink splatters, and I'm really happy with that. And I give you a bit of a close-up, and then I decide that it needs to have some enamel dots. So I put some enamel dots on it. There you go, there's the close-ups, and I'm thinking, I'd like to add some enamel dots. So I'm just going to pull out the enamel dots now and stick a couple of those onto the page, and they just finished it all up beautifully. So I could take a couple over to the sides, hang them off the sides a little bit, and that's, you know, it. So I hope that you have enjoyed this process video, and like I said, pop on over to the Victoria Marie Facebook page. There's lots of lovely ladies there and lots of inspiration to be shared, and why not give this layout a go as well. So thank you for joining me today. There will be some stills at the end, and I will see you next time. Bye!